So hello and welcome everyone to the Engineers Ireland Young Engineers Society Open Day event. Delighted to be joined with three chairpersons of the various Young Engineers Society committees around the country. I think we have a really exciting event going on this evening, and yeah, without further ado, be kicking off. So just to remind you all that today's event will be recorded, but the questions and answers session will not. If you have any questions as we're going along, just pop them into the comment section and we'll start looking at them during the questions and answers session. We're happy for this to be a participatory session. Now, yeah, as I mentioned, today's recording is being uploaded onto our YouTube channel. The student and graduate series has been very popular on our YouTube channel now for the last couple of months. We're excited to have another 5 events on the books already for November and December. So yeah, do check them out if there's anything else of interest, whether it's the topics on the innovation with the Cotter brothers who were recently featured on the Late Late Show, or whether it's checking out what a career as a consulting engineer might be, or even a perspective if you're thinking about undertaking a PhD. So there's loads of exciting recordings up there online. Just a reminder too that it's that time of year where we're encouraging our student members who are graduating or who have just graduated to transfer to full membership. You can make huge savings of up to €700 over the first 4 years of your career, so it's definitely worthwhile doing. The reason Engineers Ireland does this is that we are very committed to our engineering graduates, as you're all the future of the profession. It's very, very simple to do. You can do it on your mobile phone through your student membership profile. You just click on the little piece that will be highlighted in your year of graduation saying become a full member. Feel free to drop me an email if you have any questions about that after the session. Also to say, on today's session, we're plugging our new Student Campus Leader pilot. This is a digital initiative for students in the 3rd level colleges. We've been piloting over the next 3 months. As a Student Campus Leader, you're able to get involved in determining the topic of these upcoming webinars. You can kind of get involved too in organising an event local to your college and your community of interest, which I'll support you in doing. So it's a great way to build up your CV. And we've loads of incentives for our student campus leaders for after the pilot, which involves things as varied as Engineers Ireland hoodies to references that you can add to your studies. So again, we're actively recruiting for a few more spaces on this. Just reach out to me if you're interested, and we can talk about that some more in the question and answer session at the end. Okay, well, I've done my little spiel at the beginning. I'm delighted to hand us over to our first speaker of the evening, which is Mr. Gregory Allard from the Young Engineers Society, Thomond. So Gregory, over to you.
Hi everyone, I just want to share my screen quickly first. And if that's below, we can start. So, hi everyone, I'm Gregory Allard. I'm a student from University of Limerick, and I am the chairperson of the Thomond YES for this year. So I suppose we'll start off with who I am, and I was a model student, as you can see here in the bottom left corners. So I went to college there in Limerick, and I really enjoyed it. So I did civil engineering for 4 years. Some of the things you got to do was build a timber bridge, and we got to design bits and pieces. So then, as part of college, I got to be a site engineer on a job in West Cork, so it's the Danish Wharf expansion. So that was 230 million euros of new port, 30 million euros, and it was 230 meters of new port. And you can see the progress that was there when I left there in July. So now I am working with a civil consultancy in Kildare, and our major project at the moment is Dunkeld Interchange. So any of you who do know Cork, you'll know that Dunkeld at the moment is a bit of a bottleneck for traffic, and we're working through different aspects of design in order to improve what we have there. So other things I take part in is I was a class rep in UL, and I also took part in the UL Open Day, and that's kind of how I got started with the Young Engineers Society. I just really enjoyed talking to young students and chatting and explaining my experience, and then hearing their questions and their enthusiasm. And I kind of wanted to bring that through college and maybe even outside college. And when I started working, then I kind of got involved in this. So who are we in the Thomond region? So the Thomond region is based in Limerick, North Tip and Clare. So we're kind of based in around UL and LIT at the moment, but we're kind of hoping to expand into the graduates as well in the next few years as people come along and through. So we're a bunch of people. You can see us there from last year at one of our events in the top right corner. Lots of different people in different places all around Ireland, all students or graduates or young people up as far as 30 years of age. We've all an interest in engineering and in sharing our ideas and trying to promote engineering in around Limerick. So before I became chairperson, I was the CPD coordinator. So my job was to try and organize events. So we take an idea, all of us together, we all contribute and be like, okay, so for example, for a quiz, what do we need to do? And then someone would set an agenda and we'd set a date. And then I'd just be chatting to PR, chatting to the venues and trying to organize and try and get things to go well. And then on the night, something always goes wrong. So, you know, there's always something you don't expect to happen and just try and manage the damage as much as you can. So our past events from last year, in the left you see our quiz night. So this is our first event and we were extremely nervous about putting this on. We're like, oh, if we get 20 people, we'll be doing really well. And 65 people came and we had 13 teams. And we don't even order enough food for about 20 people, but we managed to scrape it all together and pull it off. We were pulling chairs in from the smoking area and squeezing into the building and all, and that was really fun. And you know, it kind of got people interested. Another event we had then was Young Innovators in our region. So what we think is really important is to kind of reward people who are doing well in and around engineering. So we got 4 speakers there for the night. Everyone talked for 15 minutes and they talked about different things. So one student was an aeronautical engineer and he kind of explained one of his projects he submitted to the EU government to do with airplanes and to try and reduce the carbon emissions of airplanes. With the Cotter brothers there again, who started at 16, started their own business and kind of small businesses, and then they took off and they're now doing the Cotter Crate, which is you probably see more if you go to the YouTube videos there and they'll tell you through that. Why I think being part of the YES is important. I think you do a lot of growth when you're kind of uncomfortable and learning, and you know, you're surrounded by lots of really educated people and you've loads of people you can ask for advice and everyone's just enthusiastic and just kind of trying their best to try and make things work, and generally things do work out. Another thing with engineering is it's great being able to do all the maths and all the theory, but there's a lot of soft skills, like being able to talk to people clearly, being able to present or have confidence in what you're doing to make sure it's right. I think you learn an awful lot of those skills through volunteering, especially if you're a part of like something to this scale. So some of the opportunities we get with the YES is we actually got to visit the Mary Fitzgerald Bridge in New Ross in County Wexford, and it was really interesting. So that picture on the right there, if you look, that's actually inside the bridge, which I don't think a lot of people ever get to see inside the bridges, and I was really happy I got to be part of that. Yeah, so if you want to get involved, so we kind of have our committee selected for this year, but you can follow us on Instagram on the top left there, or you can, so YES Thomond Region. You follow along there, we're sharing our events and you can see the work we're doing, and then you can turn up, you can get involved, get to meet everyone who's involved, and then next year maybe you can join too and you can give us a hand organising things and getting things going. One of our events at the moment is next Wednesday. We're looking to have an engineering quiz night. So that's the 25th of November at 7 p.m. So we're going to have 10 rounds of 10 questions. The questions will go up on the screen and we'll talk through them, and they'll kind of go onto the screen, and then you'll do your answers in your groups yourselves and you can submit them through to us then. So prize on the night, we have a €100 one for all voucher, a €50 then for second, and we have some hoodies and other prizes then for third and fourth place. Yeah, so if you want to see some other events we're doing, if you see those green arrows, so any events we do hold, we're going to put our highlights up here. So something we did last week was I was giving control of the Instagram account and I was talking on stories about my experience and bits and pieces about work from home and just answering questions people sent in, and it was really interesting and people got really involved. So if you have any interest in that, it might be a good place for you to go and have a look. Yeah, so thank you for listening. Again, if you want to come to our quiz night next Wednesday, we have a link there on our Instagram bio you can click on and you can go through that. Thank you.
That was fantastic, Gregory. Thank you so much. And I know I'm looking forward to your quiz event next week. I'll be there. And I think that so many of the points that you touched upon, like the transferable skills, soft skills, like that's definitely, if I was a young engineer kind of sitting in watching this talk, looking to get involved, that's the kind of areas I'd be looking at and really looking to develop myself. Okay, well, I'm delighted now to be able to hand it over to Brian. And Brian is the chairperson of Young Engineers Society overall region. So I'm just going to pause Gregory's screen share and I'm going to hand it over to Brian.
Thanks, Bino. Hopefully I can get this working effectively. There we go, I hope.
Looking good.
Okay, perfect. Hi everyone. My name is Brian Teehan. I'm the chair of Yes in Dublin. Delighted to be able to speak this evening. Thanks for organising this meetup. So a little bit about myself, I suppose. I'm 27. I'm from Rathfarnham in Dublin. Graduated fairly recently with a BSc and an ME in civil structural and environmental engineering from UCD. In terms of in college, I chaired the Civil Engineering Society and was captain of the UCD swim team in my second last year. So now I'm working as a graduate for the last couple of years, really in Rowan and O'Donovan, who are a consulting engineering company. So I suppose yeah, it's been great. I've seen a lot of different aspects of civil engineering already, I guess. I've worked on M50 variable speed limits. I've worked on some of the traffic assessment to do with the North Quays development in Waterford, which got the go-ahead last week, I think. Brexit modelling support for Dublin Port, and I suppose, yeah, I've spent the last year odd on site as well, which has been brilliant in terms of getting a bunch of different experience. So really good mix anyway, starting out as a graduate. In terms of Yes and Engineers Ireland and my overall exposure, I suppose my first in-person exposure to Engineers Ireland would have been I did the maths tutorials back in person in Clyde Road for Leaving Cert, and then through that, I suppose there were a lot of tie-in events in college again where you were encouraged to join and participate. Again, friends of mine went to the S Bowl, so again we would have seen young engineers, and I decided to take the leap, I suppose, and get involved when I started working in Young Engineers. So it's my second year on the committee, first year as chair. Quite recent, but definitely enjoying it, and there's a good mix of people. Again, we have people on our committee in Dublin, I suppose, who have been on the committee for the last 5 or 6 years and are coming to the end of their time. People whose first meeting was last week. So we have lots of different people from a wide range of areas, I suppose. And I've made some good friends already, I suppose, on the committee and across different areas. It's probably the best thing I enjoy about involvement is I'm involved in the civil division as well, and it's very kind of area focused. It's nice, I suppose, to get a range of ideas and a range of views on different topics. So I suppose in terms of the events that we've had on, we did an event there last week for Science Week in collaboration with TOG, as well as a presentation by our Vice Chair Jeffrey on crowdsourced air quality sensors. So again, I suppose there's a wide range of topics, and we've had Barry, I think, has been involved in a couple of these talks on a Monday evening as well, which have been brilliant. And thanks again, Neil, for organising these. I suppose traditionally we try and get a panel discussion going once a year as well. So last year we had an excellent panel discussion on, I suppose, different aspects of planning, engineering, public policy on how to address environmental challenges, and that was chaired by Marguerite Sayers, the past president. And yeah, it's a good range. We also have some site visits. So again, we did a visit to a water treatment plant to the Lewis Depot last year. We have a couple on hold due to COVID at the moment, but a couple more exciting ones to come, and hopefully some collaboration with other YES committees as well. So yeah, we'll definitely be along, Gregory, to the quiz night next week. We'll be trying to take the money off you in a big way. Yeah, I suppose it's great, and probably the biggest thing as well, if you get involved, is if you have a particular area of interest, people are always keen to learn more, and if there's something you'd like to explore, there's a lot of support across the committee to put a good event on that you might be interested in. So I suppose as chair this year, it's been kind of interesting. Everything has been online really, so that's been a big change. It's been good in terms of getting more people to committee meetings that might not have been able to attend. So that's been interesting, and it's been good too. We've had people tune in from other countries on occasion as well, which has been nice. So you know, it's been good, but it's also a shame too. We've a barbecue on. We've generally a Christmas party. So again, when things open up, you've that to look forward to if you'd like to go. And yeah, I suppose just reinforcing the importance of young engineers. I had an opportunity to respond to the presidential address this year, which would be quite prestigious. So again, I suppose if you get involved in this, you are given opportunities to speak, and make sure that your view and your opinion is held within Engineers Ireland, and it's nice to see that that's taken so seriously. So I suppose I'll give the Dublin branch a bit of a plug. We've a private group, the Young Engineers Society group on Facebook. We've also Twitter at Eng Ireland Yes, LinkedIn, as well as the newsletter that's set up. I suppose if you're interested at all, if you're from Leinster, I suppose we don't want to trample on other people's feet. If you have an interest in getting involved directly, we're always open to more committee members too. So if you'd like to send me an email or get in touch through one of our social media channels, we'd be delighted to have more people come along. So yeah, thanks very much, and delighted to be able to speak with the other chairs, and I hope you give it a go because it's very rewarding. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Brian. Looking forward to kind of digging some more into that during the question and answers session. Just before I introduce Patrick, and while he's getting his share screen loaded up, yeah, like some of the points I took away from your speech there was around like it's great with the Young Engineers Society that you're getting your CPD points, but you're able to make friends, and you're able to kind of have a big impact. Like I thought that was really noticeable when you kind of formally nominated the president in our first online AGM. So that was like a pretty cool thing to have been able to do. So thank you so much, Brian. And Patrick, over to you, and really looking forward to your presentation now from Young Engineers Society Cork.
I'm the chairperson for the Cork Young Engineers Society this year. My first slide there is just kind of give an overview of our Young Engineers Society committee this year. I'm the chairperson. The reason I'm going through it really is to give just to show you what kind of a range of people we have on our society this year. Shane is a civil engineer. We have Cathal Murs there, who's doing a master's in mechanical engineering. Simon is an electrical engineer. John does mechanical engineering. The other John is a civil engineer. Claude is studying process and chemical engineering. Renal is quality system engineering, and Rebecca is doing manufacturing engineering. So it's just to kind of give you a flavour that there is no engineering which is which is outside of our remit in the Cork area. I suppose we've always prided ourselves on having as many different areas of engineering covered on the committee, and I think that helps. It helps when you meet these people and you form these relationships from other areas of engineering, because that will give you a broader knowledge. And if you ever have to come across these people and later, you know, have to do some branching into other engineering, you'll have made a connection and you can possibly use that connection to further your career. Just on myself, I suppose, as you can see here, we're very much focused on the social media side of things within the Cork region at the moment. I'll share with you your Facebook, etc. But we've done a Meet the Yes committee all this year, which each member's profile is done out. So which kind of makes it easier for myself to piggyback off someone else's work here and just go through my own career and my own education. So I graduated from CIT and structural engineering, and unlike your Brian and Gregory, I'm actually on the other side of the coin. I graduated in 2008, where there was still British standards. We hadn't even got onto the Eurocode. So I'm pushing the envelope as a young engineer. I'm coming towards the end of my career in the YES committees. I feel that I've learned an awful lot from the YES down through the years. I've been here for nearly 5-6 years. This is my second year as the chairperson. I've been the vice chair. I've held the position of treasurer. I've held this position of PRO for 2 years. And I find the experience that I've gained from being on the committee all those years has held me in good stead in my career. I started off in 2008. I finished my degree in 2008. I ended up doing a master's in IT and architecture, construction engineering in UCC following that. And I've worked in a couple of different areas down through the years, but I'm currently working as a project manager in concept design. So most of my work currently is in the food industry. So where I started off in structural engineering and working on design of buildings, and I've done everything from tower cranes to lattice beam structures to roads. I've also worked in a couple of civil projects, which including roads, flooding schemes, etc. Road flood relief schemes, etc. down through the years. I feel that through Engineers Ireland, I've managed to make a lot of interesting connections which have helped me in my career, and I feel like that is one of the main reasons I would encourage people to join. Personally, I have a keen interest in sport, and I'm a member of Newstone GA, and I'm a member of a local soccer club as well. And I've been involved in I've been PRO for my local GA club. I've been involved in organising, and I've trained a lot of local teams as well. And I suppose when I got involved at the very start of Cork Engineering, in the YES Cork, I found that it helped me to progress in my work due to the organisation side of things as well. Just to give you a rundown quickly of the Cork region last year, we ran a large number of events. As you can see here, we've had attendance figures of well over 1,000 last year, mainly due to the fact that we were involved in some events such as Meet the Engineers Family Fun Day, which was in the Cork Waterworks experience, which had a total of 1,324 people attend. Now, this event was for young kids around Cork area, and it took place on Engineers Week, which we volunteered for. So there was shifts of 10 of us that did shifts throughout the day and took kids on looking at anything from electrical to Lego models, robots, and we had our own treasurer and PRO. Our PRO, John Smith, gave a demonstration of the virtual reality, which gave a chance for kids to put on a headset and walk through a building in Abu Dhabi and get a feel for the future in engineering, which is possibly be the virtual reality kind of design. Also down last year, we ran a number of events, including table quiz, calendar launch, a guided tour of Carron Tool. And we also ran a number of events in conjunction with the Cork region, which included the walking tour of the tunnel, which was the Jack Lynch Tunnel, which was 20 years old this year. Just a quick overview of Cork in the Cork region membership. We have a fairly substantial, we have very even split between students and professionals, and that's the way we approach the Young Engineers Ireland in Cork. So we try and split our events equally between students and professionals. So as you'll see there later, we have an event coming up soon that is directed towards the professional engineer. We have an event directed towards chartered engineers, and 2 weeks later we have an event which is going towards students, which is to help them in relation to career skills workshop, and we bring in guidance from both UCC and CIT. We work very close in conjunction with UCC and CIT on behalf of students to try and get as many events as possible. For instance, the career skills workshop, we tended to go from CIT 1 year to UCC the following year. This year we're hoping to combine both because it's going to be a virtual event, but in each of those years we bring a couple of companies with us. They set up some stalls, we introduce the students to these companies, and some of them have actually gone on and got careers from them. We have also introduced the students to the possibility of doing masters or doing a PhD in the school, and we've got in the college, and we've got the lecturers who are running those events to speak on the night in relation to it, as well as getting some of the members of the companies to speak, and getting someone to speak on doing your CV and to do up your LinkedIn, which is becoming very important in the current climate. Just a rundown of some of the top employers there that are members of the Cork Region Young Society: Arab, ESB, RPS, PM Group, Dupuy. You can see there that is a list of the top companies that are in Ireland. So that will tell you the degree that this is looked on by the degree of positivity that this is looked on by the larger companies in Ireland. So when you're in the Young Engineer Society, whether it's in Cork, Thomond or in Dublin, you will meet people that are in these companies that will possibly you might get an opportunity to work with them in relation to organising events, but you may also end up working with them professionally due to making this connection at these events. Just a quick look through what we've done through the years. As you can see, we do a number of different events. Some of them are site visits. As you can see here, this was the top left-hand corner there is a site visit to the abandoned relief flood relief scheme, which I helped organise. It involved us walking the flood relief system just before it was put in place. This included a €1 million fish pass, which was very controversial at the time. So we got to talk with the engineer who designed it. There was a number of local people came along and were giving their opinions on how it looked, and we got to hear his side and how it was going to work in the future. And we also got to walk down the river down into the bed of the river to look at the fish pass before it was done. On the bottom left corner here, you can see a half completed Páirc Uí Chaoimh. So on this case, we got a walking tour of Páirc Uí Chaoimh prior to it being completed. We got to talk through the construction with the engineers that were running the project. Actually, with us, one of our vice chair, I think that year at the time, was one of the junior engineers on site. So he gave a presentation and he helped us organize the tour. So again, as you can see, the numbers at our events are quite high. Here on the top right corner, you can see we have our visit to Ardnacrusha Dam, which is where we actually made a presentation to Thomond prior to them starting to Young Engineer Society. So we found that again, you find yourself making connections outside of your region, which is what we were able to do that day. On the bottom right hand corner and in the middle there is another tour where we took, I think it was a year ago, where we actually travelled down to Rinnaskiddy, and we got a tour of their new area where they're putting the new container plant down in Cork, for taking containers off the ship. And it was an enjoyable tour because we actually got to go by a rib from Rinskiddy back up into the Cork Harbour. You can see on the boat here, we travelled up the River Lee, up to Cork, looked at a few different items up in the Cork Harbour and came back down again on the rib. So it was quite an enjoyable tour, and it was something different. And we like to, as you can see here, there's a good range of visits and site visits that we have that we find can be quite enjoyable and very interesting, even if it's outside your area. As well as site visits and lectures, as I speak about, we do a lot of social events as well, and we do a lot of charity events. On the right here, you can see 2 years ago we set up, we did a table quiz where we raised €500 for Cork Simon community. On the bottom right here, we've a table quiz from last year where we raised €1,000 for Edel House. On the top left corner there is a picture of us volunteering for the Engineers Week, where we can up to 1,300 children came through the doors. There were just 4 of us there from 3 years ago. The bottom left is when we got a group of us climb Carron Tool. There was only 10 or 15 that day because it happened to fall in the Cork Jazz Weekend, so we were there was a lot more people signed up, but they didn't turn up on the day. On the top there is just a picture from our Christmas party, and the bottom there is just a bowling event. An interesting picture there in the middle is from the Cork region dinner dance. As you can see there, there's 7 people. There's actually only, at the time of this picture, there was 4 of us are in the Cork, or in the YES Cork. There's another 3 of those members there, Alan Costello, Ronan Keane, who's the current Cork region, and Alan Costello, who's the last Cork region chairman. They both were in Cork YES. So as you can see, you can be as involved as you want. You can start off, you can stay with us until for a couple of years, until you move away, possibly from Cork, or until you have a family, or you can keep going from the Cork Yes Committee onto the Cork Region Committee. And that's where I found myself. I'm also on the Cork Region Committee at the moment. There's another 2 members of the Cork YES Committee on the Cork Region Committee, so you can branch up, and it gives a good connection between the Cork Region and the Cork YES. So just to finish off there, from a bit of advertising there, the Cork Young Engineers Society Virtual Engineers Ireland Chartership Panel event is taking place next year. We're running it in conjunction with the Thomond region. It's being run by the Cork PRO John Smith, and it gives an option it gives a feel for chartership, how to be. It's kind of different from the Engineers Ireland events where they talk of how to become chartered. This is more about from the opinion of someone who is chartered, how they found it, and how they actually ended up finding the process, how the interview was, more from a personal point of view. And it's going to be a panelist discussion, so there'll be questions, and you can ask, how they found this or what they found to help them in the process. So that's on next. It's on the 19th of November, which is next Thursday. So also then, as I spoke about, we're organising a careers skills workshop for students in the coming couple of weeks. So just to finish up then, you can follow us on all social media. Like I said, our PRO this year has been very involved. We have a lot of pictures up in relation to how you can meet each of the committee members. Like I said previously, with Young Engineers Society, not so much now with the COVID restrictions and stuff, but a lot of people in Cork, or if you're working in different areas, there is quite a lot of movement when you're a younger engineer than you are when you're older. So our committee is always open to new members. Whether you've just moved in during the middle of the year, or for instance, we've had people moving away as well from Cork region. So we're always open to new members, and by all means, you can see the yes@engineersirelandcork.ie. Drop us an email, and we'll get involved, and you can get involved as much or as little as possible. Just to run through, we have our LinkedIn, we have a Twitter account. We are part of the Engineers Ireland Cork website. We have our own Facebook. We have an Instagram account, and there's our email. So that just sums up basically Cork YES. Thanks, everyone.
That was fantastic, and thank you so much, Patrick. I think your experiences of being like a returning chair really shines through, and it really kind of exciting to see like all the work you've done on kind of developing and growing your committee too. Like it has turned into a real operation down there in Cork, and I'm very impressed. I guess now, so Gregory has had to hop because he has another commitment. So we're ahead of ourselves. We're able to move into the period of the evening where we're moving into a question and answer session. I'm going to end the recording now just to enable us to have a bit more of a candid chat. So if you're watching us on YouTube and you're annoyed that you're going to miss out the questions and answers, I definitely invite you to attend our next meeting. So thanks for everyone who's watching our recording. I'll just end that now.